I'd like to take you to a very special place in my studio. Favorite memorabilia, where the magic happens, kumbaga. You have to remember that designing is almost like creating an armor. Hello, welcome to Rajo Laurel. Let me take you and show you around in my space where I create, where I design, and where the magic happens. I'd like to take you to a very special place in my studio. I feel that this is one of the most important spaces that I'd like to share with all of you. I find this very important because this is really where I dream, I think, and I create. This is where everything actually begins. Come, follow me. So, welcome to my library. I really love it here. It's one of my most special spaces in my studio. It's actually open to my entire team, but very few people have actually come here. It's a very special place because I love books, obviously. It has a lot of my collections of books. I have all my Vogue magazines that I've been collecting since I was 11 or 12 years old. So it's in here. And let me take you around. We start first with some of these beautiful photos. It brings back a lot of memories. One of my favorite photo is this one. So that one began my friendship with Sarah Jessica Parker. She was visiting the Philippines and I bumped into her in the Peninsula Hotel. We began a friendship, serendipitously. And I was just talking to her about Manila, and then she just casually goes, "Would you like to take me around?" And I go, "Of course, I'd love to take you around." And I took her around Manila, and she enjoyed herself, and we began a friendship. And every time I'm in New York, we meet up and we say hi. So she's a wonderful human being and a nice person. And then the next one is, there's a few books on my table that's actually indicative of what's going to be happening in the future of Rajo Laurel. So I went to this exhibit of Jean Miro. He's a Spanish artist who has this obsession with Japan. And I myself have an obsession with Japan. So I wanted to sort of like utilize that particular experience. So this actually is the start of our holiday collection 2022. So this exhibit started that, so that's why it's here. What's going to happen next is this one, which is a book on one of my favorite architects, Luis Barragan. And Luis Barragan is going to be a beginning point of the inspiration for our summer 2023 collection. So this space sort of like gives me that opportunity to think and to really explore. With regards to a favorite book, it's hard to select. One of my favorite designers is Jeffrey Bean. He's an American genius. Kung hindi niyo siya kilala, you should learn more about this incredible designer. And a lot of my work and inspiration really stems from his style. Such a creative mind. I love his work. So this is one of my favorite books. One of my favorite things here in my library are these. Let me show you. So I've been wanting to become a designer since I was probably 12. So these are notebooks that begin from 1989. I keep this as a memento of the things that I've done. So let me just show you some of my early. What's nice about this is that it showcases my illustrations even as a 15-year-old. So I go back to it and I still see the things that I'd like to do again. You know, even then I was already studying fabrics. And these are all my old math notebooks that I've made. You know, what I would do is I would draw and I would dream and I would illustrate. And you know, fast forward to, let's say now, I still do these notebooks. And I would just fill it up with illustrations and drawings and thoughts. It's actually going back to memory lane because I haven't opened these notebooks in a while. But it's important as a creative that you have a profile of the things that you do. I think it's sort of like really special. And I would write little stupid things on it. One day, this is going to be made into books. I know it. One thing you must know about me, I'm a little obsessive compulsive. So everything has to be in order. Christmas 95, Christmas 95, November 95, October. This journal has traveled to Hong Kong. Truly a shopper's paradise. Okay, I even had my hotel was Guangdong Hotel, room 615. Oh, I was buying fabric. I think that silhouette's back, that big sleeve. Fashion is very cyclical. It just rolls around in circles. So what I do is sometimes I go back here and I just look at what I've thought about in the past and then, you know, try to make it. Because obviously all of these are just ideas. Like I remember redoing this. I still do something like this. Favorite memorabilia. This was a giveaway to an Oscar party that I was invited to because I designed the dress of the first Filipina who was nominated for a short feature film in the Oscars. Okay, so that's the library tour. I want to take you to another room that's really special. This is our creative space, our creative room where the magic happens, kumbaga. So let me walk you through the process of how we begin the collection. It first starts with here. This is China. Hello. Kester's hiding. So we start off actually by creating a mood board. A mood board is like a roadmap of sorts. It's where we put our ideas all together in terms of visuals. For instance, for spring summer 2022, we wanted sort of like the idea of escape, an idea of travel. So we essentially started with a few key pointers. For instance, we wanted something structured yet voluminous, with a drape, with a focus on cutout. And then from there, we developed the idea of calling it Paradiso, which is an homage to escape. However, now that we're preparing, actually we're actually done already with this next part, which is the holiday 2022. You see, in fashion, para kaming mga para kaming mga manghuhula. Kailangan namin hulaan kung ano yung mga gusto ng mga tao. But at the same time, we're also your fairy godmothers. We sort of like tell you that this is what you want. So for the holiday 2022, we were inspired by Joan Miro. As I said, I saw this exhibition in Tokyo. He's a Spanish artist, but he was very fascinated with Japan. So I like that context of blending two cultures into one. So this was essentially the mood board. Again, key pointers like modern calligraphy, volume again, color stories, and the treatment for the fabrics, and of course the colorization. So if you take a look at this, the roadmap we developed, and then we came up with some samples that will sort of like translate that into this. These are working prototypes. It's quite lovely and interesting because there's a lot of movement. Oops. And mga wow mali moments. This is a cover-up which I love. And from there, we actually break it down into volumes. What you're looking here is the distribution of fabrics. These are some of the fabrics for our coming holiday collection. And you could see the translation of the textures and whatnot. So from there, we distributed into the different designs. So these are just a small scale distribution. Ginagawa namin to para makita namin yung flow ng colors. It's almost like you're telling a story. Kasi with designing a collection, it's almost like a narrative of sorts. So from there, we create what we call line sheets. This is an example of a line sheet. A line sheet is very important because, again, it creates your narrative. So this is the line sheet for 2022 summer. So we just sort of like arrange it in such a way. It's like a creating order out of creative chaos. And then from here, we take it one step further pa by creating what we call a lookbook. This was actually the holiday of last year. So we like making a lookbook because it sort of like really grounds from the idea to the actual process with all the different colorways. From concept to actuality to merchandising, distribution, fabrication, and then finished product. And then after that, we actually begin selling the clothes to the clients. So that's where the showroom comes in, or where the store comes in, so to speak. This process we just developed ourselves. We don't know if this is what the other people do, but this is how we do it. So our holiday collection is coming soon, and we're really excited to show that to all of you. We're also going to be opening a brand new store, so that's exciting. What else is exciting? This is exciting! I'm so excited to have a vlog, finally. So help me. I'm kind of nervous, but you know, I think it's going to be fun.
Hi!
Hi.
Can we ask you a question?
Sure. Roughly about 8 years, something like that. Every day is a chance to learn something new. His nature as a designer, as an artist, is always evolving. He's never afraid to explore new things. It's a lot of fun. He's actually very easy to work with. As long as you know how he is as a person and his love and his passion for his craft and his work, it's easy to work with him. His positive outlook on his work and his love for what he does is what makes him the best. Well, this is one of the busiest rooms kasi, especially for the creative team. So every collection, we do our prototyping and prototype fitting here. We have our in-house model, Genesis, with all the prototypes, and sometimes he comes in, he critiques it before we show it to him officially. I think for every collection, that's the most memorable part of the collection process making. It's seeing the prototypes come from designs on paper to fabric to samples, and then eventually to actual clothes with the actual fabrics itself.
We're going to be displaying these items from Rajo in our store. It's so important that not only we present our clothes and create our clothes well, but it's also important to present our clothes well. That's actually called visual merchandising. So let's do a few here. You have to remember that designing is almost like creating an armor. Designers nowadays are like people who create confidence. And the power of clothing is very important because do you remember the last time you actually felt good about yourself and you were wearing something nice? That is what the power of clothing is all about. So it's always vital that you dress up well. By dressing up well, you actually become more confident, and becoming more confident, you're able to do more of your to-do lists and checklists in your life. That's all for today. Pero kung meron kayong mga comments or suggestions, please write them down below. I want to learn from you guys. And don't forget to follow me in this magical journey called vlogging. Ewan ko kung magugustuhan natin, pero subukan natin. Try and try until you die!